Non-selection builds character. A lot of times, the things that are hard in life are the things that make us stronger. You've got to stick to it. Sometimes whenever something just doesn't seem right at all for you, or seems like the worst thing in the world that could happen, it turns out many times to be.
What were some of the things you had to change early in life to get to where you are now?
Yeah, I think that you really need to be willing to accept change and to embrace it. And I believe strongly in divine providence, and sometimes whenever something just doesn't seem right at all for you, or seems like the worst thing in the world that could happen, it turns out many times to be exactly what needed to happen. And so a lot of times in my life, it's been an opportunity that just pops up, and you need to be ready to take advantage of.
And I've seen some of that. I mean, I was going through a deal, it was maybe about a month ago, and it fell through. It would have changed, not my life, but it would have definitely helped it a lot. And it fell through, and I'm working on one now that's better and a lot just different. And I think if I would have gotten that first one, I wouldn't have worked as hard as I am to get this one. Not that I feel like maybe I would have gotten lazy, maybe I wouldn't have. I'm thinking that working a little extra harder because that one fell through, so I'm trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, I understand. I spent 3 or 4 years doing business development as an engineer, so I was out there looking for other airport projects for us to design. So I'm chasing, going to airports all around the country, begging them for work, basically. Yeah. And we submitted 21 proposals the first year that I was doing this, and we lost all 21 of them. And I wrote a note. These things would get filed and sent on to the my manager, the CEO of the company, others, and I put a note on there, downtrodden kind of note. Yeah. Lost another one, something like that. I don't remember even what I put. Yeah. But our CEO, give him credit, because he called me to his office and he threw it back across the table at me, and he said, he had written on there, non-selection builds character. And he was right. That's something that has always stuck with me, that, a lot of times, the things that are hard in life are the things that make us stronger. And we won number 22. The next one, that was just luck. But it's very true. You've got to stick to it.
And as the top executive at PTI, what strategies did you implement to attract some of these major aerospace and aviation industries?
Yeah, I would say that the main reason that I was even interested in taking this job, because I was a consultant working for airports all around the country, and I never had any indication or any desire to go to work for an airport. But then with projects like Honda, like FedEx, like HAECO, at that time Timco, I was starting to see the set of assets that this airport had, and some of them just natural assets, its location, the roads that are around it, the climate, the population, the low cost of living and low cost of doing work, all of those kinds of things. And the set of assets that generations of predecessors had built here, creating an opportunity. And so my job, what interested me, was to be able to kind of collect all those assets and focus them towards this specific goal of growing the aerospace community as an employer, because this area, especially at that time, needed replacement jobs for a lot of industries that had offshored or had otherwise gone away.
At Juliant, we're with you at every milestone, and your brightest dreams never have to fade. At Juliant, we help you shine. That's brighter banking. Juliant Federal Credit Union.
And so, by that time, industry had voted with its feet already. You already had Honda here, you had Cessna here, you had Timco, you had FedEx. So it seemed to me to really have a real good opportunity. And I think what we did, and it's not me, it's a big team of people. What we did was to sit down and get laser focused on how we were going to get this place ready, so that companies would come along. We were ready way in advance. We're way more competitive than most of the other airports out there because we're so much further down the road in terms of having sites graded, having utilities right there, having roads there, all these kinds of things. And so we, again, figured out a very detailed laser-focused strategic plan to be able to do what is now starting to bear some fruit. And through, again, the work of a lot of hard people and the careful planning of people, again, decades before us. All these things, what's the old line about whenever opportunity meets preparation, that's when you succeed.
Yeah.
And here we are.
So there's a lot of factors. I mean, not many people think of all that. They just think like, oh, bring another industry here and it's ready to go. And there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, I mean, if you go out and look around this entire general area, we've got a rolling topography. So you've got a lot of hills and valleys, and all of these you need to cut down the hills, fill in the valleys to get everything flat. Bringing utilities, especially utilities that are needed today, a lot of water use, a lot of electrical use, making sure that you can get electrical data. And data is just incredibly important for site development these days because so many companies are using, like design tools that are based in technology, and they're sending files back and forth to other countries, even in the case of, for instance, Honda. So, having all of that kind of infrastructure available and having it ready where you can tell a company, yeah, we can have this ready for you in months, whereas other sites would have to say years. It just makes us that much more competitive.
Yeah, and even the land aspect for whenever we're working in real estate, especially in Randolph County, we've seen there's not a lot of sewer capacity or water lines, and that puts a big stop in a lot of projects because instead of putting 100 homes, you could have to do maybe 20 or 30, and then you have to leave enough room for the well, which takes a lot of money, and there's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
But for project like Boom Supersonic and what they're working with, do they give you a little sneak peek of when it'll be ready for someone to fly?
Well, I mean, all I can tell you is they're looking to have it flying by the end of this decade. So, the development of an airplane is a very complicated thing, obviously, and, sometimes they can get sent back, sometimes they stay on schedule. We'll just see how that plays out, but it's very exciting. They've had a lot of really exciting news here in the past couple months. You've probably seen they flew their XB-1 demonstrator in the Mojave Desert.
It's pretty cool, by the way.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, and, it's really, I guess, the first sort of non-government developed supersonic aircraft to fly. And then they've gotten approval to have that airplane fly past the speed of sound, which is a requirement that the government has to provide. And so that's really good. It shows they're going to be able to, move on with more testing of that. Their building is nearly complete, so making some great strides.
Well, if y'all need any test people to go on there, I'll sign up.